Hi, welcome. I'm Denise Comer. This is English Composition 1, Achieving Expertise, which is a massive open online course offered in partnership between Coursera and Duke University today with two learners, writers from our course who are going to workshop their drafts of our Project 2 essays. So I'll turn to you both now so you can introduce yourselves and say where you're joining us from today. Beatrice.
Hello. I'm Beatriz. I'm from Brazil. I'm living in São Paulo State, Brazil.
Hey, I'm Nitendra. I'm from India. I'm doing my master's at Texas A&M University. I'm staying in College Station, Texas.
Okay, thank you for being here too. So we are, as I said, we're workshopping Project 2. Those of you who are in the course, you might be watching right now or you might be watching this as a recorded version. Either way, you can access the drafts that we're talking about through the specially designated discussion forum where volunteers posted during week 6. Are we in week 6 or week 5 of our course? We're in week 6, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so week 6, and during the week 6 segment. So please go there to access those essays. Before we started on turning to one of these drafts, I wanted to remind us of the general criteria for Project 2, which asks us to analyze a visual image in order to explore expertise in a particular chosen area of inquiry. So the grading criteria Project 2 instruction sheet. I'll just read through those very quickly and then we'll get started. To analyze the image thoroughly, effectively use the image to support and develop your own argument, effectively integrate evidence in the form of details about the image as well as quotes and paraphrases, employ scholarly conventions for citing sources, organize the essay clearly, develop paragraphs that achieve paragraph unity, revise it carefully, and then include an effective title. So I think we'll turn to Beatrice, yours, if that's okay. And I think before we have time for you to read maybe a paragraph or two, but before you do that, can you share with us what you in particular would like feedback on, maybe within those criteria or even in addition to those criteria?
I was reading again my draft and I realized that there are some English mistakes that I think that I could do by myself to correct them. But the main point I would like to receive a feedback. It's about the paragraph units and how they are connected one with each other, and if the claim is clear.
Okay, great. So which paragraph would you like to read? You can read 1 or 2 paragraphs aloud, and then we'll take a couple minutes to collect our thoughts for feedback.
Okay. First one, the photograph shows a man drawing the outline of a sea. He's using his right hand, although the watch is in the referring to his work. On his right ear there is an earphone. He has a mustache and his skin is black. On his ringest finger there is a metal ring. Bracelet that seems to be a metallic one. Is this a picture of a drawings master?
And would you like to read another paragraph too, or?
Sure. The answer is not an the image shows somebody very concentrated on his work, and the work looks very well done. The image concerns the drawing act, and his author would give birth on mind's observer many questions. In the foreground, there is the creator, and in the background, his creation. A man is creating something in a very skillful manner. The line shows an outline of a city, and he looks as creating from his mind. Is he?
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll take a minute to collect our thoughts, and then we will provide you with feedback. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Nitendra, I'll if you could start us off, and we'll have a conversation about your essay, Beatrice.
Okay. Should I start my essay?
I mean, start us off in giving feedback to Beatrice.
Okay. Okay. One feedback I would like to give is that the first paragraph should be introduction of your idea. I mean, what this essay is going to be about, not just putting the nitty. I mean,
So that's a good point. How do you start off an essay? And of course, you can choose, right, to start off kind of orienting a reader to the project and the area of inquiry, or you could start off with some kind of approach that captures reader interest in a way, right, which could be these details. Beatrice, can you talk a little bit about what your choice was by starting off with these details?
I made a construction at first describing the picture and adding more question from a paragraph to the other, and finally I used the Collins English Dictionary to define an expertise, and to define and later to define what is a high functioning or autism, and then finally make a connection with this two, and posting some questions about what is expertise.
So, Jitendra, what would you suggest if she were going to choose the alternative approach to beginning, right, which would be orienting? What kinds of ideas would you expect, given that you've read the whole essay, what kinds of ideas would you expect to be in the opening?
Okay, I believe that for a reader to understand in a good flow, the word autism should be explained at the beginning. And in this essay, it's almost on the lower half part of the essay. So, so that reader would get an idea what this essay is all about, and then they go into the details of this image.
Okay.
Yeah, I think actually I'm gonna offer a middle ground. So I agree with you. Autism should be because it's a key term of the essay, and I think it
Yes.
also is the reason that sentence that you have, the answer is not uncontroversial. I asked when I was making notes, I wanted to know why. Why is it controversial? And I think the idea about autism is why it's partly controversial, right? What is it? What counts as an expert? And are there certain stereotypes about what kind of a brain you have to have in order to be an expert or not, right? Like, how do you define who gets to be an expert? And that's why it's controversial, which is great. You're working with a really important concept. So I would, after that wonderful sentence, the answer is not uncontroversial, I would encourage you, as Nitendra said, to include something about autism and get readers thinking in that direction.
Okay.
At the same time, we didn't quite address the details in the beginning. I think, Nitendra, your suggestion indicates that maybe you kind of were, when readers enter essays, they are looking for something to ground themselves in, right? What is this going to be about? Where is this essay heading? Why am I looking at this picture? What's going on? And so what I heard you saying is that you didn't quite know where it was going from that first paragraph with the details, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, it creates a kind of confusion. I mean, people will be wondering what this essay is all about. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At the same time, I do think it's really a unique way, and I applaud you on moving to such great detail at the beginning, and that is a way of capturing reader interest, and it does focus our eyes really on the image. One suggestion I might have is that some of the details that you're choosing to include could be focusing the reader towards that question of expertise and concentration that you're going to get to. So I was a little bit distracted by the ring on his finger and the watch, because those details, of course, they're great details that you're noticing, but they're not details necessarily that work towards your argument in the image, or else are they? Let me ask you.
Yeah. The thing is that if he's drawing with the right hand, probably the left part of the brain is the dominant. But he's using the watch in the same arm. Probably that's an hypothesis. He used both hands and to do the things on the everyday life. This I didn't develop on my test, but I could do later on my final project, because one of the explanations for high functioning autism is that there's the different roles of our left and right uh, in this kind of people. Scientists saying that the left side of the brain has suffered some kind of damage in the early years or during the birth, and then the right side took place of the left side, and then the watch is the detail of the watch was not developed, and I agree with that. But this point I could write more, but this was a short essay.
I think that's fascinating, and I would definitely encourage you to include more of that later. So maybe what you could do is begin by capturing some of the details that really just focus on concentration and intense effort,
Okay.
right? Then
Uh-huh.
move into that second paragraph and introduce your key terms and the controversy. And then
Okay.
later in the essay, definitely bring out those wonderful details that you've noticed. And anyone who's watching out there who has autism in their lives, or or studies it, neuroscience, physicians, parents, family members, maybe you can comment on Beatrice's on the comment section too. If you know more about this too, that would be interesting to talk about, and you could gather community expertise about that.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for talking about that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a beginning part. We still haven't addressed, you asked about the transitions between paragraphs, and then Nitendra, you might have also other feedback to provide too. So I'll pause for a second. And what other feedback did you have, Nitendra?
Right now, one thing I wanted to say, there are many big paragraphs all quoted. I don't know if all of these are taken from somewhere else and then given the reference. But I believe that it would be better if we can write it in our own words, so that whole essay will be in sync. So uh,
I think that's right. I think there are some moments, I'm going to refer to them as block quotes. So where longer block quotes are valuable. On the page that I'm looking at, though, probably don't have the same pagination, but anyways, the paragraphs that begin according to the Collins Dictionary, and then a couple paragraphs down, there's a quote that begins, Stephen was born in London, and then another quote later on, autism spectrum disorder is a complex. Yeah, I would suggest that choose carefully, and if you want to have one block quote or a couple block quotes, that's fine, but I think a lot of this material could be condensed and integrated within your voice and your ideas.
Okay.
I don't know about other readers out there, but some readers tend to actually skip block quotes altogether when they're reading, because they just, they're reading so fast and they just kind of we want to hear what Beatrice has to say, right? And you can use a block quote to facilitate what you have to say, but maybe have more of your own ideas and shaping in there too. That way you are not only letting other people speak for you, but you're actually making the argument. And you have great insights because you were commenting about the left brain and the right brain and autism. And so this will give you room for those, because you said the essay's short, right? If you reduce these, you'll have more room to make your own argument.
Okay.
And while we're talking about that, I did notice another pattern too. So I look for patterns. We all as writers have tendencies to often structure our writing in certain ways. And so one pattern that we've just been talking about is the use of block quotes, which you're going to work, challenge yourself on having variety. Another pattern that I noticed is ending a paragraph with a question.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's a great move, but and I'll also say that sometimes patterns are good and we want to have patterns, but you might just want to notice that you're doing that often and make sure each time you really want to do that, and that's the best choice for a paragraph's end.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
In this case, it was a particular choice to end each paragraph with a question. But I could revise to see if all of them are necessary.
Yeah, like the one at the end of the first paragraph, I really like that one because it's the lead into the essay and it's inviting us into a question. One that I wasn't sure was as necessary maybe would be, well, you have the paragraphs that begin maybe a big space and then the other paragraph right next to it, according to the Collins Dictionary, both of those seem to end with a similar kind of question and also the same kind of question that was at the beginning in that first paragraph. So I thought maybe either come up with different questions or since you already asked that question, maybe it's not as important at this point in the essay.
Yeah.
I read at the conclusion of this essay, and I think that she is trying to convey that his talent is intriguing and make us think more. That means she should add some questions. That I think that is what she is trying to convey. But in the whole essay, people won't, I mean, reader won't know that this is what she is trying to convey. If in the beginning or somewhere in the upper half of the part of the essay she can convey that this is what she is trying to do, then that would be better. If you read whole essay and then you're what this is, give up reading or something like that.
Nitendra, maybe it was just me. You went out at the very last minute. Can you repeat the very last thing that you said? Because your the connection went out.
Yeah.
I hope we're not losing you.
Oh. Nitendra?
Okay, well, hopefully we'll get that worked out. Nitendra, we'll wait for you. And I'll turn for a moment to the question that you raised, Beatrice, about the connections, the threads between paragraphs and the transitions, how the essay is moving. That was one of the things you wanted feedback on.
Yes.
And so with transitions, what your goal is, well, actually, this will also speak to what Nitendra was saying right before, oh, maybe he's back, what he was saying a moment ago with helping the reader know where you're going in the essay and what your main point is for the essay, because you can use the beginning sentence of every paragraph as a way of reminding readers what you're focusing on and why.
Okay.
As well as connecting to the paragraph that directly preceded that paragraph. So an example of where you do this very well is that second paragraph where you say the answer is not uncontroversial. Readers know that, I mean, you've just asked the question in the former paragraph and now you're referring to the answer, and so we know there's a connection. And then also with that introduction of controversy or uncontroversy, you are beginning to move readers toward one of the main arguments that you're trying to expand our kind of, or narrow definitions of what counts as expertise or not. Okay, so as another example, the third paragraph, the first sentence begins, the image is framed in such a way that the creator and his creation are both fragmented. And what I wrote there in my notes is I wrote that we need a transition, because you've been in the prior paragraph, I think you're going to add more about autism there and skill and landscape art. But the keyword of fragment for me as a reader isn't yet connected to what came before it. So my brain has to figure it out, and you want to give your readers a little bit more direction at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Welcome back. I'm glad you were able to join again, Nitendra.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was disconnected.
Sorry. So we missed the very last part of what you said. What I did hear was that you were saying that the reader doesn't know till the very end really kind of where she's going in the essay, and then you said
exactly.
what did you say after that?
I just told that many people will give up reading because they don't know where they are going. That's what.
Hmm.
Okay.
And we don't want that. We want people to keep reading, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that we can learn what you have to say.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I also think with the transitions, Beatrice, that as the block quotes, that will more transitions will naturally emerge because you'll be doing the work of including more of your own argument and material within the
Yeah.
paragraphs.
Yes.
Kendra's essay, are there any follow-up questions that you have for us?
Uh, uh, I believe that my vocabulary is not strong, and I would like you to give a feedback to use correct words so that reader can I mean, the whole essay will be in flow. I generally use very simple words for to convey my message. So, in this essay, what I'm trying to convey is that uh, learning or following someone else's dance is not the way to learn dance. You can just start music and moving your body, and slowly you will create your own dance step. And that's how Michael Jackson has created his own dance step, which was totally different from other dancers at his time. So,
Okay, so hold on right there. You should write that down because that's great what you just said, but I don't know that you didn't write those exact words anywhere. Oh, in the conclusion, right? You were at the
in
beginning of that, but that was
in
great.
conclusion, yeah.
You should capture what you just, well, you can watch the video again and rewrite it down because what you just said verbally, it would be great to
Okay.
include in the essay. That was great.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All
Yeah.
right. So, Beatrice, we'll at the end we'll make sure we come back and make sure if you have other stuff too. But so Nitendra, we will focus on you were talking about flow and your diction, vocabulary,
Vocabulary. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the main point. Okay. And
Yeah.
which paragraphs would you like to read?
I would like to read first and last paragraph. Okay, so I'll start with my essay with dancing is a great hobby. It not only makes you feel good, but also it provides some physical exercise which everyone needs. There are various varieties of dancing available in the world. Some dance on the rhythm of the music, and some present their dance to deliver a message to audience. Dancing just for fun is different than dancing as a professional on stage. Michael Jackson combined both. He danced just for fun and made a different genre of dancing. He also performed some revolutionary dance steps such as moonwalk and sideglide that gave him public attention at international level.
And you can continue for the final paragraph too. Uh-oh. Did we lose you? Okay, well, while he's trying to come back on, maybe I will read your final paragraph, and then we can at least give you some feedback, Nitendra, as you move back in. So this is Nitendra's final paragraph. The thing I want to address in this essay is that there are no rules in dancing. Michael's dance steps were totally different from other dancers at that time. If you want to learn and enjoy dancing, then you do not need to actually follow someone else in order to learn dance. Just start moving your body parts and you would start getting a feel of what dance is all about. Switch on a music you love or go to dance clubs of your choice and start moving. Sooner you would create your own dance step. Okay. So let's take Beatrice a minute to collect our thoughts, and hopefully he can rejoin us, or we can at least offer some feedback virtually for him. Hi, Nitendra. I went ahead and I read your final paragraph for you, and then we're taking our minute of quiet time to think about the feedback we want to provide for you, okay? Hi, welcome back. Are you here?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I just said or no?
No, I didn't hear.
Okay. When you were having your technical difficulties, I went ahead and I read the final paragraph out loud just so we could keep on moving, and we're just collecting our thoughts. But I think we're probably ready to give feedback. Beatrice, are you ready to give feedback?
Yeah. I really like it, and one main point that I think that was mandatory for the essay was to define or explain expertise. And you, Nintendo, didn't use the term, but I understood that you were talking about this, about expertise, because Michael Jackson is an expertise in dancing, and you are pointing your point of view on the last paragraph, stating that if you create your own movement, you are creating an expertise. Then I think that for a reader, um, these implicit things should be more clear, more. Uh, uh, I think that you should write about expertise and use Michael Jackson example um, to make your point about it.
Okay. So you are telling that I should use the word expertise somewhere? Is that what you are trying to
Me?
say? Yeah.
No, yeah, I was following the instructions for the draft, and
Okay.
oh, you should how is expertise being defined, and what does expertise look like, and how might this image reinforce, challenge, or otherwise modify ideas about what constitutes expertise? Then these questions could help you um, to write your ideas, but about Michael Jackson's expertise
Okay.
and your idea about what is expertise. Because for me, I understood that you were saying that if we create a personal expertise, this thing that I understood, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think in the same way that you were suggesting with Beatrice's essay that she front loads some more of the material that helps guide readers to what your main point is, and I think this dovetails what you've just been saying, Beatrice. I think when you go back and you watch this video and you listen to that 1 minute explanation of your paper, like that kind of explanation at the beginning of your paper would maybe not, I'm not talking about the first sentence or anything, but towards the beginning of your paper would really help illustrate for readers the point you're making.
Okay.
And very intrigued by the use of the word fun throughout the essay, and I've been trying to wrestle in my head with, because I'm going to ask you to connect the dots for me as a reader between fun and breaking rules and being really good at dancing. I liked your conclusion because it seemed to be suggesting that you weren't necessarily talking to people who want to be professional dancers, though maybe they could learn from you too, but you're talking to people like me who should just go out and go to a club and dance, right? And that's inspiring and great and fun, and and I like that. So, but connect that to Michael Jackson. Like, I don't know, was he having fun? Is that something that you get out of this image? Can you move that detail into the image itself too?
Okay. Okay. I'll try to include that. Yeah.
Okay. Because so far, I guess so far, Jackson, the evidence from the photo shows that he's being innovative, right? But innovation is not necessarily fun, and I was really interested in you expanding on that concept.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Beatrice, do you have other feedback that you'd like to provide too?
Yeah. The point about the shoes that Michael Jackson and the other dancer are using. I really like this, and this connects what Professor Denise was talking about. It's something very new. This thing, and you were explaining about it, but it's disconnected with the other point that's fun. You know, because when I think about me using this kind of shoe, I don't think it would be fun. You know, and I understood what were saying, but I think that in this image, you what we are seeing, it's not the fun, but we are seeing this innovation, this technique,
Yeah.
this thing, you know, make possible a different movement for Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the moonwalk does strike me as a connection too, because people wanted to imitate the moonwalk, and people, you know, they laughed while they were doing it. I mean, so that element of fun and trying to imitate it. But this with the shoes, which I didn't even know until you explained it, I didn't know how he had accomplished that. I have seen a version of this image before, so I appreciate you teaching me about that. But yeah, I don't know. It looks hard. It looks like it would hurt my ankles. I don't know.
You're right.
Okay.
But I think maybe you can do with it, because this image appealed to you for a certain reason and made you think about this essay and your argument. So I think just connect fun into it a little bit more.
Okay.
So I want to address the paragraph before the final paragraph, where you talk about the ribbon that he wears and his autobiographical details, the biographical context there. Can you share a little bit about how you see that fitting in with your overall argument?
I believe that this might be out of context, but in this paragraph, trying to give more idea about Michael Jackson as a person. I mean, I was trying to convey that he is caring, and he was very much sensitive to children's and those things. I think this is out of context. I believe that.
What did you think, Beatrice, about that section? Can you hear me, Beatrice?
Yes.
Okay, with the section about the children, did you think that fit with his argument, or can you connection there?
I think that this one on the argument. I think that if he is moving from fun and dancing. This point, just this paragraph could be a big essay about how he Michael Jackson was showing um, his concern about children and abused ones and things like this. And I think that this could be shortened, this paragraph,
Yeah.
or just mentioned um, to give more space to the main argument of dancing as a creative thing, as a fun thing. I think that these two arguments would be very good, because this one, I think that is a third one, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that this could be shortened.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up was twofold. One, because of I wasn't sure how it fit in. I mean, I know you're noticing it. You're explicating a detail, right? Which is the armband, and you're talking about what. So it is part of the image, but I didn't know that it as evidence. I don't know that it advances your argument. But the second reason I wanted to bring it up is bring in biographical context about somebody. We that there have been so many rumors about or lawsuits, not just rumors, so much controversy over Michael Jackson's relationship with children, and given that you talked about, if you hadn't maybe brought it up, I wouldn't say you had to put it in there, but if you're going to talk about children and Michael Jackson, I feel like you need to address that about that controversy, if only because it shows that then you have more ethos, credibility as a writer, that you're aware of all of the biographical context surrounding this individual.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure, to emphasize for everyone watching out there, it doesn't mean that you have to take a position on it or say, but just mentioning that you know about it really goes far in awarding you a level of credibility that you're knowledgeable about your subject matter and who you're writing about.
Yeah.
But I'm still thinking about this issue of fun. The difference is that maybe it's partly that there's fun in the image, or that he conveyed a sense of fun, or maybe it's actually you're differentiating between novice expertise and professional expertise too, which would be an interesting angle, right? That I have the luxury of just being totally innovative and having fun, and he still had to be within certain parameters and have the shoes and the gizmos and practice hard and all of that. Okay, so I wanted to ask you which citation style you're choosing to use.
There is MPA. I don't know what it is.
You said what? I'm sorry.
Okay. I will tell you where did I get from. I went to Google Scholar and I searched there, and if you click on the cite button, there will be many kind of citation styles. I took one of them.
Okay, and you don't remember which one?
I think it's MPA.
Okay. So I think just double check whichever. It's important. So the Google Scholar does great as a starting point for the citations. I use it often in my own writing. I'll copy and paste what they suggest, but sometimes they get it wrong. For MLA anyways, they often will leave out the city of publication for some reason. So I by no means know the specifics of every different citation style, but it's important that you do, so that you can double check what you've gotten from Google Scholar as a citation to make sure that it's including everything correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are several citation styles that use these kinds of footnotes, so it's definitely familiar to me. I just don't know which one it is, but double check to make sure that it works. And then with Beatrice, we didn't talk about citation in yours. Which citation style were you using?
I tried to use the one that's the same from Nintendo.
Okay.
That's the one that was explained on the video by a professor from sociology, and I tried to use it, but with the internet situations, sometimes I cannot find the data, the date of. Sometimes I can't find all the things that I was supposed to find. You know?
Yeah, that's frustrating. that's
Yeah,
the case with.
Yes. Then I put on each one I put the complete web address. You know.
Okay, so this is a very good illustration of as we're revising these projects for everybody to really double check their citation style. It's not necessarily time to do it in the earlier drafting phases because you're still working out your argument, but once you figure out everything you want to say, if I'm looking at the last essays, and what I understood you both to tell me is that you're trying to use the same one, and yet they look very different to me, right? So one of them has references in bold and underlined, and then one of them uses brackets and one doesn't, and then the spacing is different. So again, unless I double checked it with online resource for citation, I couldn't necessarily tell you how to correct it, but as writers, you can do that work too. Just really double check scrupulously to make sure you're adhering to the conventions of a citation style.
Okay.
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 But I do want to commend both of you for being very comprehensive in your citation too. Though it looks like you were really looking at a variety of different kinds of resources and citing those references. So that adds a larger conversation to your essays, and that's great. Okay, so we are almost out of time, and I'll ask you in a minute to take 1 minute or 30 seconds and for yourself reflect on what your takeaways are from this workshop, providing feedback to the other person and then receiving feedback. But are there any follow-up questions before we move to the reflection part from either Nitendra or Beatrice? Do either of you have follow-up questions? I think we didn't talk about the diction. You asked about language, Nitendra,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so let me say that as I read this, it didn't strike me that you said that you felt like you were using very simple. You used the word simple language, and until you said that, I hadn't read your essay and thought, oh, it needs to be amped up a notch in sophisticated way. I thought that the word fun is an important, you could make that a more sophisticated term if you wanted to, like enjoyment or pleasure or something, but I actually like the word fun. It's important for your essay. It's a key concept for your essay. So are there particular words that you were dissatisfied with, or Beatrice, did you notice any words that you thought could be shifted?
On Nitenda's, you say?
Yes.
I like many words he used, like rhythm, fun, the performing, movement, and creating something. I think that these words are very good and they are connected.
Mm-hmm.
And dance. For sure.
Yeah. Nitendra, did you have any particular words that you were uncertain about? Like you thought, oh, that sounds too simple.
Like the starting first sentence itself, the dancing is a great hobby. It looks very simple. Can we create something more sophisticated word, something like that?
Mhm. Well, I think actually that's interesting that you point that out, because that first sentence, I did wonder how you were maybe going to expand on that, and I think this question of hobby versus profession, right? Like Michael Jackson as a performer and you as a club goer, club dancer, right? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that can be played out more.
Okay.
I kind of like those moments when writers have really short sentences, and use language that I would say is I don't necessarily think that language needs to be elevated in order to communicate smart ideas. And I think sometimes we run the risk of sounding like we're pretending to be smart, and then that's counterproductive for what you're actually trying to do. It can kind of cover up the actual message. So I would encourage you just to be proud of your choices and words, and if occasionally, I mean, I can't think of another word for hobby, pastime, might be other phrases that you could use, but that would change the tenor of what you're saying, because you're talking about a fun hobby that people like to do. You're not talking about some kind of elevated, niche leisure pursuit of any kind. So I think it goes with your essay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, sure. So go ahead, Beatrice, were you going to say something?
No, I just would add something that for me was particularly interesting was the way Nintendo, the first voice, her personal experience and feelings with the all the explanation about Michael Jackson, and I think this is a strong point on his essay.
Okay.
I agree too. I like that. And as I'm looking, the only word that I personally have a pet peeve about, but I know that all kinds of learners in the course are going to say, there's nothing wrong with this word, so I'll just spark debate, which is fine. But the word thing in the final paragraph, it says the thing I want to address in this essay. For that, I might suggest that you say the main point I want to address, or the issue I would use something other than thing, but I know all kinds of people are going to say thing is a great word, but I generally think you can find something more descriptive.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with what Beatrice said about your personal voice. Okay, so why don't I ask you if you would just please for 30 seconds jot down for yourselves a couple main takeaways that you have. I will ask you after those 30 seconds just to share one or two of them so that other viewers and learners out there can think about what you've gotten from this workshop. So just jot down some takeaways, and I'll write down some also. Okay, so would either of you like to share one or two takeaways that you had?
Can I start?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. One thing I learned while giving the feedback to Beatrice that I did the same mistake, like not giving good background at the beginning. Second thing, one paragraph like talking about children was unnecessarily in this essay, I will make it short, or I can remove it. And the third thing is that uh, this this particular dance step which is shown in the image is not that much fun kind of dance step. Maybe I should use some other dance step like moonwalk or anything. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Beatrice?
One thing. The other things are to use my own voice on the main blocks, and use shorter quotations, and give more directions from one paragraph to other, to work on a better transitions from the paragraphs.
Okay. Well, this workshop reaffirmed for me that in providing feedback for other writers, we are also always thinking about our own writing. What you noticed, Beatrice, in Nitendra's essay was his use of voice and his personal ideas, right, which is something that you want to work on. And then Nitendra, you said the same, right, putting the material at the beginning. And it also occurred to me just how difficult it is with visual analysis when we notice all kinds of details in an image, trying to decide which details to include in the essay or not, and whether we want everything to stick together and be cohesive, or maybe we want to include random details that don't even advance our argument, and that's an interesting question to me, to balance that. So thank you for letting me think about that. And before we adjourn, I want to also thank Genevieve. You are wonderful in helping organize us and in all kinds of ways on our course and then in this workshop too. So thank you for your work on the Hangout. And Nitendra and Beatrice, it was so delightful to get to work with you and to read your writing. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.